wonderful good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back here at the public forum at the group exhibit Hydrogen, Fuel Cells and Batteries. I very much welcome you to come and have a seat. There are two lovely ladies that will be serving you with complimentary drinks. Also, I would like to say hello to all our online guests. We are live streaming from the fair here at the Hanover Fairground. My name is Mona Lee and I'll be your moderator for the next 15 minutes. And you can see already that I have two guests on stage. We'll be discussing the two market leaders that have joined forces. So please welcome with me on stage to my left side, Vice President Hydrogen Products of Hexagon Composites, Mr. Rashilla. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
And also, I would like to give a warm welcome together with you to the Executive Vice President of Hexagon, Dr. Michael Kleschinski, former CEO of Experian Energy and Environment. Welcome. So after many years of being two main competitors in the Type 4 high-pressure tank market, Hexagon announced the acquisition of Experian in October last year. What was the main reason for merging Experian and Hexagon?
So from our experience, we saw a nice need to expand both the global footprint of the Hexagon family and also to expand our manufacturing capacity for an important market segment we see in the growth of hydrogen storage tanks. By the way, we would like to say Guten Tag to all the visitors that are online, and especially to the group that is here with us today.
And then, Hexagon has Hexagon always been specializing on tanks?
So for more than 50 years, Hexagon and its heritage company has been a developer of these high-pressure tanks for many different applications. And the company, through the years, was acquired by our Norwegian parent today, Hexagon, and this occurred in 2005. The company today is a public company in Norway, and about 1.2 billion NOK is our general revenue from a large standpoint.
And then what expertise does Experian bring into the business?
So Experian has a long track record in processing of composite materials, especially in our predominant production technology, filament winding, and has decided roughly 10 years ago to enter in the high pressure cylinder business. And that was a start to develop the Type 4 technology that is the current product technology they're using either within the heritage Hexagon companies as well as in Experian.
And then does the extended group provide any added value to your existing and prospect customers?
So we find that the two companies working together have very specialized knowledge about the local markets. Experian in the European market and Hexagon in the North America and the Norwegian market. And together, we were somewhat surprised that there was very little overlap between the companies. So we have strong understanding of the local certification and use of these high pressure products. And together, we can understand more of the world than just our individual typical hometown where we operated before.
Yeah. So with all the heritage technology and experience, we also can bring together the experience that we have by today in order to even come up with more improved products, but also with a global presence for our customers and also with after-service support for our customers on a worldwide basis.
So I see there are many synergy effects, but usually in mergers and acquisitions, they're associated with integration processes that take a long time and can be a little bit difficult. You two have been one company for nearly 6 months now. How far have you been proceeded with the integration process?
We're, I would say, 3/4 of the integration process is complete. We have had many meetings, both as large groups in Germany as well as in North America, and additional small group meetings in both locations as well as our manufacturing location in Norway. We have 3 primary locations building product today, Lincoln, Nebraska in the USA, Kassel, Germany here in Europe, and the strong capability in our Norway facility. Small teams have worked together to help understand what each other do. We believe that many mergers and acquisitions fail, and this failure is often caused by lack of communication or lack of open thinking. So by having these small groups together in a frequent fashion, we're steering the groups to work together and find the best solutions for the future expansion and growth from a technology side as well as from the manufacturing side.
Yeah.
And I would think maybe cultural fit has been a good one for us.
Yeah, let me add this. So also we learned, we paid a lot of attention to the integration process and spent a lot of efforts into that. We really also learned and found that we have a strong cultural fit, and this is what we're facilitating in order to bring this to a success.
And then in terms of your product, which we are going to discuss a little bit more detailed in a few seconds, how would you describe Hexagon's position in the hydrogen market?
I think the joining of Hexagon and Experian is the combination of two market leaders in their respective area of expertise, both technology expertise and market expertise.
And then you brought something today. What did you bring?
Yeah, so we as a global system and solution provider have based our core technology on so-called Type 4 cylinders, so high pressure cylinders to contain gas, especially also hydrogen at operating pressures from 300 to 950 bar. These cylinders consist of a liner, of a thermoplastic liner that we have on the inside to contain the gas, and a composite overwrapping, so fiber reinforced plastics to cope with the high forces caused by the internal pressure within the cylinder. So
how much pressure is that?
So this is a 950 bar storage cylinder. Typical applications are storage cylinders at hydrogen fuel stations to fuel cell vehicles at 700 bar operating pressure. So we have a wide range of products coming from 250, 300 bar up to 950. So this is a composite wall thickness for 950 bar. This is another example from a light duty vehicle, so from a passenger car, onboard storage cylinder for 700 bar operating pressure. So we can see also with a smaller wall thickness. So we have especially custom designed products to fit the needs of the applications that we serve, and our applications address the whole value chain of hydrogen, from the beginning where hydrogen is manufactured, so where it needs to be stored, where it needs to be transported as compressed gas from the manufacturing site to the customer, and also as cylinders for onboard storage in passenger cars, city buses, trains, etc.
So I see that your tanks already have an advantage over, for example, metals in terms of the weight. And what about the lifetime? Because you said you're using plastic on the inside.
So one value proposition is also not only the lightweight of the cylinder, which is of course a big issue in all applications when it comes to mobility, where lightweight is a big issue, but also the service life. So these materials, these composite materials, have an excellent fatigue behavior, much superior to comparable steel products.
And then what about the cost efficiency?
We find that the cost efficiency for the customer that values the lightweight and the long life, the product is very cost competitive, especially when it comes to moving the gas, where a customer is making hydrogen in one location, using it somewhere else. We can provide a very large payload and a very high and long distance that is worthwhile to the customer to make that economic justification.
And you just mentioned that you use tanks so that you can first compress the hydrogen and then you can carry it. So you can, for example, use it in a car. You have, and then also the fuel cells station at the hydrogen station. Is there any difference?
I think as we discussed, the big difference is the ground storage tank often must be higher pressure, so we add the thickness to the external portion, but we use the same materials to provide the say 700 bar fuel tank containment for the light duty vehicle. So we have a large basket of experience, and we select from that during the design phase to make the solution efficient for individual applications, whether that's on a ship, on a rail car, on a truck, bus, fuel cell vehicle, or gas transportation.
And I would like to know, were there any special events that happened during the last year?
Yes, so we have our main focus currently is on the development of especially applications and solutions for hydrogen. Let me mention one highlight project that we are supporting, that is the Alstom Coradia E-Lint. That's the first fuel cell train that had been unveiled last September by Alstom. And this train features our gas storage system to store the hydrogen on board the train to supply the fuel cell.
And it is really interesting. So there's right now a prototype running in Germany, in Salzgitter, and then I think the train is running on 80 kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
And what the interesting thing is that in Germany, more than 50% of the railway is not electrified. So do you see more potential in Germany?
Yeah, we see a large potential either in Germany, but also worldwide. So the first, although now we're in the trial period, so not only in Salzgitter, but there will be a first train running on public tracks in northern Germany. And there are already several lines announced in the Frankfurt region and in the Rhine-Ruhr region where this Coradia E-Lint will be used for public transportation. And of course, this is an application as it addresses zero emission. That's a project of interest for worldwide applications.
So the keyword is zero emission. What do you think will hydrogen bring to the world?
Well, certainly, Norway has been a laboratory for much of the world on hydrogen use. And we find that the deployment of that technology brings two important things to the rest of the world in any country. Number one is the possibility for energy independence, not to rely on fossil fuel. Number two is the opportunity for true zero emission and the complete reduction of emissions that is erasing pollution throughout the world, helping third world countries as well as industrialized countries. And this expansion of hydrogen use, we believe, is our market to provide good technology to, provide good collaboration between two companies, and continue to help serve the customer community and all those that benefit from energy independence and clean, zero emission.
Makes my heart go a beat faster. So now you can open the public forum here for questions from the audience. And I will come down to you if you have questions. Okay, still on coffee break, no question this time. Well, I have more questions, if I may ask more questions. So what role can you think can these joint two players and now performing under Hexagon play in the German energy transition?
We see that in this marketplace, there will be many opportunities for isolated development of special hydrogen applications that may require some unique storage capability. Today, although we talk about storage tanks for hydrogen refueling stations, a very common question is coming sometimes, hey, what about fuel cell powered drones or aircraft or alternatives? So the idea to miniaturize our technology is something that we will make some joint investigations of.
Yeah. So looking besides that special applications, of course, our main focus is on the OEM, LDV market, so passenger cars for future zero emission transportation, as well as all aspects of public transportation today, especially city buses, transit buses. That's a strong focus that we also see here for Germany.
And then what is the range from the smallest amount of kilogram to the highest amount of kilogram of hydrogen that your tanks can hold?
I think
Very roughly.
Good question.
0.6 kg probably is the minimum, and the maximum for a a typical large-scale cylinder for a refueling station is in the 16, 17 kilogram range. I think what we also look at is our gas transportation technology in consort with partners that we use for these kinds of systems. Almost 1,000 kilograms of storage on a mobile application. 1,000 kilograms, a great supply for fuel cell vehicles.
And could you once again highlight the advantages of your high pressure type 4 tanks and also compared to other?
So if you look, for example, at the transportation of hydrogen with the Type 4 technology in combination with the systems that we're offering with our partner companies, we can enable to transport 1,100 kilogram per individual vehicle. And this is compared to, let's say, 200 to 250 kilogram per vehicle of hydrogen that can be transported with old-fashioned solutions based on steel containers. And this is also a way to reduce traffic, so by being able to transport 5 times as much hydrogen on one vehicle, and that's also a key. Yeah.
Well, very interesting. And last question, could you give an outlook of your planned innovations and developments in the field of hydrogen?
I think our initial opportunity is to continue our global expansion. So the technology that we develop for any marketplace, we see as transportable to essentially any operating area or any country. So we're forming strategic partnerships like joint ventures in Scandinavia, unique partnerships with investors in Japan and other parts of Asia. And once we have those unique relationships in place, then we will deploy the technology that we develop. And I think as we look ahead, the largest market potential is for the light-duty vehicle cylinders. And in order to make those in a cost-effective fashion, the implementation of automation and procuring materials at their least cost. The Type 4 tank allows us to do that by buying the plastic materials by the ton and the resin materials by the truckload.
Sorry, one more question. So are there any particular countries that you're looking forward to export to?
We see that Japan, Korea, all of Europe, most of North America are our primary leading markets, but we're forging relationships today so that we can operate in Brazil, in India, and we look forward to other parts of Asia.
And you're also involved in the logistics?
We're involved in the transportation of that gas by truck, can be by rail, and we look forward to helping customers move the gas from the source to the actual use point.
Oh, wonderful. I really see that two companies have been benefiting and that Hexagon is really moving forward and pushing into the right direction and also have this clear mind of having zero emission future. So I really like to see who's behind that company where your motivation is really strong. So I very much wish you the best for the future and more business context here also at the fair. So who in particular should talk to you after this interview?
So, well, we would appreciate to intensify our contacts to the automotive OEMs, but also to public transportation companies as well, to our customer base in industrial gas, so especially the hydrogen business, but also everybody who sees the opportunity in having hydrogen transport solution and storage solution as part of his value chain.
All right, now the time is really up and I have to close this interview, but you can visit these two really nice men at the booth B60, which is just across down the aisle and then to the right. And thank you again. That was Rick Rashilla from Hexagon and Dr. Michael Kleschinski. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And if you'd like to stay seated, the next interview will start in just a few seconds. We will be listening to the development of an alternative fuels based on the German mobility and fuel strategy. And for that, we'll hear the head of the program mobility and fuel strategy of the NOW GmbH. And the representative will be here, Mr. Johannes Daum.